Welcome back for more Western Montana adventures. We'll cruise a section of US Highway 2 to meet up with an old friend. Go exploring in the side-by-side along the North Fork of the Flathead River. Check out historic Pole Bridge. And do a guided fly fishing float on the Swan River. Well, here we go. Heading out on Highway 2. Gonna catch up with Mark somewhere in Yacht, Montana, hopefully. It's a great morning. It should be a great ride. The lower Flathead Valley is truly a beautiful place. The fields of canola are beautiful this time of year. I hadn't done much riding this year. It was a great feeling, back on two wheels on a bright sunny morning. Okay, about to get on Highway 2 and head for Libby and points beyond. Once on 2, and just as soon as I'd let my attention wander to the lush green fields, however, I was clamping on the binders to avoid the rear end of a pickup. This was to be my wake-up call. Deer and elk were on the move, with some sadly finding their fate colliding with passing traffic, like this poor animal. Poor little deer got hit. For obvious reasons, I came to refer to Highway 2 as Carnage Alley. From that moment on, my eyes and senses were on high alert. Moving further west, the valley landscape transitions to forests of pine, spruce, and Douglas fir. And I just saw another deer. They're out today. They're also pretty though. The fur is just gorgeous. Climbing in elevation, the warm sun was muted by a heavy fog. I found myself grasping at tabs to close up zippered vents, and with the push of a couple buttons switching on the heated grips and seat. We're coming into some sunshine now. Warm things up a little bit. A few more miles and a welcome sun returned. With a mixture of thick timber and beautiful valleys rolling by, I couldn't have asked for a better ride. Welcome to Libby, Montana. Rolling into Libby, it was time to dig out a hot thermos of coffee and have a snack. Meanwhile, having rested overnight in West Spokane, Mark was making the trek east. A short way past the Idaho border, I spotted Mark coming toward me. With me getting turned back around, we stopped and took some time to catch up on what's been going on, discussing Mark's lack of power to the GPS cradle and where we might get a bite to eat.
How you doing? I didn't see yaks at all.
It's that way.
Oh, okay.
We're not to the state line yet. I just crossed the state line about 5 miles back or so.
Okay. Cool. How you doing?
Marvelous. How you doing?
I'm doing actually really well. I'm enjoying this ride, man. I needed it.
Yeah. I'll bet you did.
I tell you.
We kibitzed about Mark's work, his ride so far, my lack of riding, and the walking and dead animals strewn along the route.
5 months of working home.
To top off the minor mechanical issues, Mark's ignition was misbehaving as well.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Then it was off to the tiny town of Troy for lunch.
Wow, wow, wow. What gorgeous scenery.
held up by a side-by-side.
If there's one great thing about Montana, it's that one can legally license and operate a side-by-side on public roads.
Talk about the twisties, here you go.
Back at the home 20 and reflecting on the trip, it was so good to be riding with Mark again. After a nice night around the fire pit and killing a bottle of some really nice scotch, we discussed the next day's activities. Initially, we had planned a dual sport trip around the Hungry Horse Reservoir, but decided on taking the side-by-side for a putt instead. Our destination, Polebridge and the Polebridge Mercantile. Today we chose the rather straightforward route that would take us up through Columbia Falls and to Polebridge, following Montana 486. Some 10 or 12 miles north of Columbia Falls, the road turns to gravel. But first, we'd heard about a route up the east side of the Flathead River, running north out of Fish Creek. I had never run that route, and looking at a map, it looked like a nice ride, so we crossed the river onto the tarmac and eastward to the Fish Camp turnoff. This is Camas Creek Road, leading to the west entrance of Glacier National Park. The bridge over the North Fork of the Flathead is a great spot for a photo op. The Camas Road entrance is not staffed by park rangers, but there is a kiosk just to the right of this stop sign where one can grab a park brochure and supposedly purchase a pass via a QR code image. But without a cell signal, it's a moot point. Moving into the park, the backdrop of mountain peaks and blue sky was diminished some from the smoke of the wildfires drifting in from the west. Fish Creek Campground is situated on the southwestern shore of Lake McDonald. It's a popular destination and is open from late May to September.
Lake McDonald?
The inside North Fork Road, as it's called, is one lane. The campground was packed with visitors on bicycles, sedans, SUVs, and full-size pickups, traveling both north and south.
And this, my friend, is why I love this rig.
It's a good thing the Can-Am is narrow.
Yeah, two pickups are not going to get past each other on this, are they?
Just waiting for somebody to come hauling it down this road.
What a guy! This vehicle pulled over to let us by. Not a normal occurrence. Some 6+ miles up, however, everything came to a halt. Unknown to us at the time and due to a road washout, it seems the road is gated off at Camas Creek, which just goes to show it pays to check route status in advance.
That's a nice spot to fish.
Camas Creek Trail, right there. Well, Maine on your right, back.
This thing's from Pennsylvania.
That's from Pennsylvania.
It's amazing the myriad of different state license plates you'll find in a place like this. Time to turn around and head back down the clogged path back to the highway. Dang, I was really looking forward to seeing a different road and a different side of the Flathead River. Come on, you put a Mack truck through there. I guess 6-passenger side-by-sides are as invisible as motorcycles.
It looks a bit crashing your fucking car. I wouldn't even know that.
Winding our way back to the North Fork Road, we headed for Polebridge. The Polebridge Mercantile is over 100 years old, and aside from the small pub next door, a gas pump, and some rentable cabins, this is the hub of Polebridge proper. I think by the time we rolled into the Mercantile, I might have been salivating from the thought of one of those delicious Huckleberry Bear Claws. They're all made fresh daily. We opted for some yummy pastrami pocket sandwiches, and I brought back more than one of those tasty bear claws. Well sated with full stomachs, we headed back south. Since moving to Montana, as far as exploration goes, I've really only scratched the surface. Mark chided me that I need to do more of that. So I took his words to heart and we peeled off the North Fork Road onto the first forest road we encountered, FR 376. Eventually we came to a gorgeous valley and stopped to take in what Mother Nature had to offer. A clear stream meandered through the lush green landscape. Later, we learned this was Coal Creek, and we vowed to return the next day to hopefully wet a fly line. So what do you think
What do I think about?
about all of this?
It's beautiful.
I'm so glad you twisted my arm, dude. Snapping a few photos, it was time to head south. The only things we were certain of was that we were on the west side of the North Fork Road and heading south. I'd left a great big Montana recreation atlas at home. Of course. As it turned out, we weren't as lost as we thought. We wound up breaking out back onto the North Fork Road. Familiar territory. It's fun, quote unquote, getting lost sometimes. With our fishing gear loaded up in the Can-Am, we set out to re-find Coal Creek. Yesterday, Mark had seen a forest road veering off of 486, NF 316 as it turned out to be. I'd looked at potential routes from there, but didn't map out a specific plan. On the map, the forest roads looked rather spaghetti-like, and perhaps presented a high probability of getting lost yet again. Sure enough, we did in fact lose our way onto private timber company land, testing out this route and that, winding our way upward only to find ourselves at a dead end atop the mountain peak.
That's what all that. This is a turnaround thing. You want to stop and have a sandwich and some water?
If you're going to be lost but you have a marvelous view,
I guess.
you may as well stop and have a picnic. That's another nice thing about adventuring in a 6-passenger side-by-side. There's room for a big cooler with sandwiches and cold drinks.
Well, we got to go back down the mountain.
That's us. So if we go onto this road, we'll take a left, and if we keep taking lefts as we go in, we come here, we take a left, we come down here, we take a left. It's going to bring us into Iron Horse Golf Club. So that's got to be able to be a way out. That's what I think anyway.
Okay, I'll go with that. As they say, down is out.
That's not about the tire now.
Neither of our phones were picking up service or satellites at that point.
I don't have anything here. Let me see if I can get this. How do you get the satellite stuff?
With one more dead-end foray up a different mountaintop, we wound up retracing our path down a familiar-looking road. This family and canine friends were on a leisurely putt through the forest in a new side-by-side.
How the hell do you get out of this place?
We chatted for a while and talked about the mini gates that were blocking our way out.
Probably about half mile to a quarter of a mile. You'll hit another road that takes off to the right. Take that corner. Stay on that road, that'll take you out.
Yeah, we ran into some locked gates and
Well, usually you go around them on Stones Land.
well, the one we found down here, we'd have probably turned it over if we'd. If I was on my KTM, it would have been no problem. But
there's the first, it's not quite as well traveled as this road, but just about as well.
yeah,
And you just take that right, stay on that road. It's probably going the opposite direction, so it's right.
It was rather comical listening to the husband and wife debate lefts and rights with each other. We thanked them for their intel and carried on our way.
This way.
No, it'll be a left. She's right. Listen to her.
In the end, we wound up on a bridge with a locked gate at the other end. By jockeying the Can-Am to about a 45-degree angle on the bridge, we just squeaked by the right-hand gate post and avoided rolling the rig into a ditch. Finally, we were on our way out. Although we never made it back to Coal Creek, the rest of the adventure was uneventful. We made our way back home and had some stories to tell. The following Monday, we'd scheduled a float on the Swan River with Matt DiPaolo of Crane Mountain Guide Service. We'd been fishing with Matt before and thoroughly enjoyed his streamside manner and great guiding expertise. We were really looking forward to some awesome time on the water. Nice one, Mark.
Yeah.
got it.
You gotta kiss him.
This was the first trip down the Swan. The day was gorgeous, and the fish didn't disappoint. I sure hope we can do it again. The good times always go by too quickly. It seemed like just yesterday I was greeting Brother Mark at the Idaho-Montana border. This visit was another one for the memory banks, whether it's riding, fishing, getting lost, or enjoying downtime. I appreciate the time spent. On a rainy morning in Kalispell, Mark set out for home back in Washington, and I contemplated our next adventures.
Off in the rain. Safe travels, mate.
Until next time, brother.